Thank you.
Terima kasih.
How good. How are you
Luar
going?
biasa. Bagaimana kabarnya saudara?
Luar biasa. So, my name is Fraser, and this is my wife, Intan.
Jadi nama saya
And-
Intan, ini suami saya Fraser.
And so we are looking after caretaker pastoring see through the book whilst Pastor Rachel and Emmanuel are away.
Jadi kami pengurus pendeta selama Pastor Rachel dan Pastor Emmanuel sedang cuti panjang.
So, over the last 2 weeks, we've been looking at Matthew 4, verse 19.
Jadi beberapa minggu terakhir kita sudah berbicara tentang Matius 4 ayat 19.
Do we know it off by heart yet?
Apakah sudah ingat hafal apa yang kita bicarakan?
What does Jesus say?
Apa yang Yesus berkata apa?
Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men.
Mari ikutlah
They're
aku,
cheating.
akan
They read it
kujadikan
off the
penjala
screen.
manusia.
And so this is the same call that Jesus gives to each one of us
Dan
today.
ini adalah panggilan yang sama yang Tuhan Yesus berikan kepada setiap kita.
Not a call to follow a set of rules or regulations.
Bukan hanya sekedar kita mengikuti aturan atau regulasi yang ada,
Not some religious ideology.
atau hanya sekedar ideologi agamawi saja,
Not to follow him because our parents did or our family did.
atau sekedar karena orang tua kita mengikuti Yesus jadi kita mengikutinya.
But this is a personal call to each one of us to follow Jesus.
Tapi ini adalah panggilan personal yang Tuhan berikan kepada setiap kita untuk mengikuti Dia.
And so we've looked at how in Matthew 4 that Jesus is talking to a couple of fishermen,
Jadi kita lihat di Matius 4 ayat 19, Tuhan Yesus berbicara kepada beberapa nelayan.
Simon and Andrew, and they're just doing their day job, fishing,
Simon dan Andreas, mereka melakukan pekerjaan mereka seorang nelayan.
just trying to get by in life.
Jadi supaya bisa menyambung kehidupan mereka.
And as they're doing that, they're interrupted by Jesus,
Ketika mereka sedang melakukan itu, Yesus datang.
and it completely changes the course of the rest of their lives.
Ketika Yesus datang itu mengubahkan kehidupan mereka.
But it's only as they're obedient to the call to follow Jesus.
Tapi itu
as we talked
terjadi hanya karena murid-murid ini obedience, taat dengan panggilan yang sudah Tuhan berikan.
about. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about that obedience is the start of following Jesus. Obedience is the start of discipleship.
2 minggu lalu kita berbicara kalau ketaatan adalah hal yang dimulai untuk mengikuti Yesus.
Not being born into a Christian family.
Bukan hanya sekedar lahir dari keluarga Kristen saja.
Not having Christian as your KTP religion.
Bukan hanya sekedar punya identitasnya sebagai orang Kristen saja.
Going to church every week doesn't even mean that we're following Jesus.
Atau datang ke gereja setiap minggu.
But following Jesus is about a decision that we make to obey his call and follow him.
Tapi mengikuti Yesus adalah keputusan di mana kita mau mengikuti Dia setiap harinya.
Not just on a Sunday morning,
Bukan hanya sekedar di hari Minggu saja,
but each and every day.
tapi setiap hari, setiap saat.
So I want us to think about this, that we are all following something.
Jadi coba mari kita pikirkan, pasti kita mengikuti suatu hal.
If you've been coming to Wednesday nights, we've been talking a bit about this.
Kalau kita datang di hari Rabu, kita Connect Night, kita sudah membicarakan ini.
That we're all following something or someone.
Kita pasti mengikuti seseorang atau sesuatu.
It could be trends on social media.
Bisa jadi trends yang ada di sosial media.
It could be the culture that we live in,
Atau budaya di mana kita hidup.
which is what Paul the Apostle talked about in Romans and called the pattern of this world.
Paulus berbicara ini adalah pattern dari kehidupan kita.
Maybe you're following a leader or a famous person
Mungkin kita mengikuti seorang pemimpin atau orang yang terkenal
or an ideology.
atau ideologi.
Maybe it's the desire for constant comfort that you're following.
Mungkin kenyamanan, rasa nyaman yang ingin kita alami itu yang kita ikuti.
Whether we realize it or not, we are all following something.
Tanpa kita sadari kita pasti mengikuti sesuatu atau seseorang.
But following trends on social media just leads us to desire physical things and
Ketik-
worry about our appearance.
Ketika kita mengikuti trends yang ada di sosial media tanpa kita sadari kita mengikuti apa yang kita mau saja.
Following the pattern of this world leads us to becoming addicted, to becoming hurt and broken.
Kalau kita mengikuti apa yang disediakan dunia ini tanpa kita sadari kita akan merasakan sakit atau kecanduan oleh sesuatu.
We just have to look around in our community here to see what happens when we follow the pattern of this world.
Kita bisa lihat apa yang terjadi di komunitas kita sekitar ini kalau kita mengikuti apa yang disediakan oleh dunia ini.
Broken families, people addicted,
Kecanduan, mungkin keluarga yang bermasalah,
that it doesn't lead anywhere.
di mana tidak menunjukkan kita, mengantarkan kita kepada sesuatu yang benar.
But the promise of the Bible is that following Jesus leads to life to the full.
Tapi janji yang Alkitab berikan mengikuti Yesus memimpin kita kepada kehidupan yang
And
berkelimpahan.
so last week Pastor Cherry shared John 10:10, and it says that Jesus has come, or Jesus is saying, I have come to give life and life to the full.
Pastor Cherry men-sharingkan minggu lalu di Yohanes 10 ayat 10, aku datang membawa hidup yang berkelimpahan.
All other things that we can follow end up controlling us or hurting us.
Hal yang mungkin kita ikuti saat ini selalu mengkontrol kita.
But the Bible describes Jesus like a shepherd.
Tapi kita bisa bayangkan Yesus dideskripsikan sebagai gembala, seorang gembala.
And so I want us to think about what is the job of a shepherd?
Jadi, mari kita pikirkan apa tugas seorang gembala?
To look after his sheep, right?
Untuk menjaga domba-dombanya, ya
To
kan?
make sure they have food, to make sure they're protected, to make sure no wolves come and eat them.
Memastikan mereka punya makanan, memastikan mereka diproteksi, memastikan tidak ada serigala yang datang mengganggu mereka.
And so there's lots of parts of the Bible that talk about Jesus as a shepherd, but we're going to look at Psalm 23 today.
Jadi banyak beberapa pasal berbicara tentang Yesus sebagai gembala. Kita mau lihat di Mazmur 23 saat ini.
So let's read Psalm 23.
Mari kita baca Mazmur 23.
The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Mazmur 23 dikatakan, Tuhan adalah gembalaku, takkan kekurangan aku. Ia membaringkan aku di padang yang berumput hijau, ia membimbing aku ke air yang tenang. Ia menyegarkan jiwaku, ia menuntun aku di jalan yang benar oleh karena namanya. Sekalipun aku berjalan dalam lembah kekelaman, aku tidak takut bahaya, sebab engkau besertaku. Gadamu dan tongkatmu, itulah yang menghibur aku. Engkau menyediakan hidangan bagiku di hadapan lawanku. Engkau mengurapi kepalaku dengan minyak. Pialaku penuh melimpah, kebajikan dan kemurahan belaka akan mengikuti aku seumur hidupku, dan aku akan diam dalam rumah Tuhan sepanjang masa.
So there is a promise that we will never lack anything.
Ada janji di mana dikatakan kalau kita tidak akan kekurangan sesuatu apapun.
We will always be provided for.
Di mana kita akan selalu disediakan oleh Tuhan.
We will be protected.
Kita akan dijagai,
We will be restored.
kita akan dipulihkan,
We will be healed.
kita akan disembuhkan,
And we will be free.
kita akan dibebaskan.
And what do we have to do?
Tapi apa yang harus kita lakukan?
What does a sheep do for its shepherd?
Apa yang domba-domba lakukan kepada gembalanya?
It follows.
Mengikuti
Great
gembala
answer.
tersebut.
So following Jesus means that we receive all of these promises for ourselves.
Mengikuti Yesus artinya kita menerima janji yang sudah Tuhan sediakan ini buat kehidupan kita.
That we can say, I will never lack anything as I'm following Jesus.
Kita bisa bilang, saya tidak akan kekurangan suatu apapun ketika saya mengikuti Yesus.
I will find rest in Jesus as I
Saya-
follow him.
Saya akan mendapatkan ketenangan di dalam Yesus ketika saya mengikutinya.
I will go through the darkest valley.
Saya akan mengalami lembah kekelaman,
Maybe not the nicest one.
bukan hal yang menyenangkan, bukan?
But I will fear no evil.
Tapi aku tidak perlu takut.
That we don't have to fear because Jesus is with us.
Kita nggak perlu takut karena Tuhan Yesus bersama dengan kita.
And so the verse mentions the rod and the staff. This is talking about Jesus' love and his guidance.
Tongkat dan gadanya artinya kasihnya dan penyertaan Tuhan ada bersama dengan
That when we're
kita.
going through times that are dark, that are struggling, that his love and his guidance will be with us.
Ketika kita menghadapi suatu hal yang kelam, hal yang gelap, yang sulit bagi kita, Tuhan berserta dengan kita.
That we can trust that he will keep us safe, that he knows what is best for us.
Kita bisa percaya kalau Tuhan bersama dengan kita, kita bisa percayai Dia. Dia tahu yang terbaik buat hidup
And
kita.
so in my own life, I can see countless miracles and times where God has provided for me and for us.
Di dalam kehidupan saya bisa lihat bagaimana Tuhan menyediakan segala sesuatunya buat kehidupan kami.
2 years ago when we first moved to Bali, I didn't have a job lined up before I came.
2 tahun yang lalu sebelum kami pindah ke Bali, Fraser belum punya pekerjaan ketika dia pindah ke Bali.
And so it wasn't like we had all this money stored up that we could live off for months and months either.
Saat itu kita nggak punya banyak uang di mana kita bisa hanya tinggal dan nggak perlu bekerja.
So I'm trained as a school teacher, and so I contacted some local schools about working.
Jadi Fraser adalah seorang guru, jadi dia mencoba untuk mengkontak beberapa sekolah yang ada di sini untuk menawarkan pekerjaan.
And so one school got back to me and invited me for an interview.
Jadi ada suatu sekolah yang akhirnya menawarkan pekerjaan kepada Fraser.
And so I went to the interview, but it just didn't feel right.
Dia datang ke interview, tapi dia merasa ada sesuatu yang salah dengan interview ini.
It didn't feel like I should accept that job offer.
Saya merasa saya tidak harus untuk menerima pekerjaan ini.
And then when they sent the contract, they asked me to work on Sunday mornings.
Ketika mereka mengirimkan kontraknya, Fraser harus bekerja di hari Minggu.
And so at this point, I was feeling the pressure to make a decision.
Saat itu saya merasa saya harus membuat sebuah keputusan.
I needed a job quite desperately,
Saya perlu pekerjaan saat itu,
but I knew that that was not where I was called to work.
tapi saat itu saya juga tahu kalau saya nggak perlu berada di tempat itu.
It was like God was like, no, don't do that.
Saya merasa Tuhan untuk bilang tidak perlu untuk ambil pekerjaan ini.
And so we thought and prayed about it for a few days.
Kita berdoa, kita memikirkannya beberapa hari.
And then so it got to the Friday night, and the school that had offered me the job were like, we need to know by Friday night.
Jadi akhirnya di Jumat malam sekolah itu meminta kami perlu keputusan apakah kamu mau bergabung atau tidak.
And so I sent them an email saying that I was going to decline the job offer.
Dan saya mengirimkan email, maaf, saya tidak bisa untuk bergabung dalam pekerjaan ini.
And then at the same time, I sent an email to another school that hadn't got back to me yet, asking again if they had a position available.
Di waktu yang sama saya mencoba lagi menawarkan diri saya ke sekolah yang lain.
On Monday morning, I received a reply from the second school saying, hey, are you available for an interview tomorrow?
Jadi di hari Senin saya mendapatkan tawaran untuk interview lagi, untuk bisakah di hari Selasa saya datang untuk interview.
So I had the interview on Tuesday
Saya ada interview di hari Selasa
and then got given the job on Wednesday.
dan saya mendapatkan
How good is
pekerjaan
God?
baru di hari Rabu.
A better offer, no Sunday working hours, and I had the peace of God about accepting that offer.
Tawaran yang diberikan lebih bagus, tidak perlu bekerja di hari Minggu, dan saya merasa damai sejahtera ketika menerima pekerjaan ini.
And so as we decided we were going to trust and follow Jesus, He provided for us. We lacked nothing.
Ketika kita percaya sama Tuhan kalau Dia akan menyediakan, kita nggak perlu khawatir karena Dia akan menyediakan buat kita.
God is so good, right?
Tuhan sangat baik, bukan?
However, even when Jesus was on earth, not everyone He called followed Him.
Tetapi ketika Yesus berada di bumi, di dunia, tidak semua orang yang Dia panggil mengikutinya.
As I mentioned before, some people loved following the culture of the world,
Beberapa orang suka mengikuti budaya dari dunia ini.
or they felt that their wealth and the things that they had were more important than following
Beberapa
Jesus.
orang mungkin pikir kekayaan atau apa yang penting di dunia ini lebih penting daripada mengikuti Yesus.
We're going to look at Matthew 19, verse 20 to 22.
Kita mau lihat Matius 19 ayat 20 sampai 22.
And so there's a young man talking to Jesus,
Ada seorang
and
muda datang kepada Yesus dan berbicara.
he wants to know how he can have eternal life.
Dia mengatakan bagaimana caranya mendapatkan kehidupan yang kekal.
And then he explains to Jesus, he says, I've followed the law, I've done all your commands. What else do I need to do?
Dia bilang, saya sudah mengikuti perintah, saya sudah mengikuti aturannya, apalagi yang saya harus lakukan.
So we look in verse 20.
Kita lihat di ayat 20.
All these I have kept, the young man said. What do I still lack? Jesus answered, if you want to be perfect, go, sell your possessions and give it to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me. When the young man heard this, he went away sad, because he had great wealth.
Kata orang muda itu kepadanya, semuanya itu telah kuturuti, apalagi yang masih kurang. Kata Yesus kepadanya, jikalau engkau hendak sempurna, pergilah, jualah segala milikmu, dan berikanlah itu kepada orang-orang miskin. Maka engkau akan beroleh harta di sorga. Kemudian datanglah kemari dan ikutlah aku. Ketika orang muda itu mendengar perkataan itu, pergilah ia dengan sedih, sebab banyak hartanya.
There will always be a reason to not follow Jesus.
Ada banyak hal yang menjadi alasan buat kita untuk tidak mengikuti Yesus.
I'm sure we could all think of some reason to not do it.
Pasti kita mempunyai alasan, apapun yang mungkin ada saat ini, untuk tidak mengikuti Yesus.
This man didn't want to follow Jesus because he was more concerned with his wealth and his belongings.
Orang muda ini tidak mau mengikuti Yesus karena dia punya banyak harta.
And a thought I had while I was preparing was, imagine if this guy did follow Jesus. Maybe we would be reading about his life and what happened to him now today.
Ketika saya mengerjakan khotbah ini, saya berpikir, coba kita bayangkan kalau orang muda ini mengikuti Yesus, menjual hartanya dan hendak mengikuti dia. Apa yang akan terjadi di dalam kehidupannya?
But he let his wealth get in the way of following Jesus.
Tetapi kekayaannya menjauhkan dia dari mengikuti Yesus.
And like we talked about 2 weeks ago, Jesus doesn't want our stuff. Jesus didn't need this guy's belongings.
Tuhan Yesus nggak perlu kekayaannya anak ini atau apapun yang dia punya saat itu.
Jesus wants our heart and our obedience.
Tuhan mau hati kita dan ketaatan kita.
And so it wasn't for Jesus that he had to sell all these things, it was for himself.
Bukan untuk Yesus dia harus menjual hartanya, tapi untuk dirinya sendiri.
That Jesus asked him to do that as a sign of, I'm not going to rely on my things, I'm going to follow Jesus.
Ketika dia menjual itu Tuhan Yesus mau dia nggak mengandalkan hartanya, tapi mengandalkan Yesus.
But this was too much for the man.
Tetapi
So he
terlalu
didn't follow
banyak
Jesus.
buat orang muda ini.
Now, let's look at another story in Matthew.
Mari kita lihat cerita lain di
It's
Matius,
a good book.
buku yang bagus,
So we're going to
kitab
read
yang
from
bagus.
Matthew 9, and we're going to look at how Jesus called Matthew, who wrote the book of Matthew.
Kita bakal lihat kisahnya Matius yang menuliskan kitab Matius ini.
So Matthew, he was a tax collector.
Matius adalah seorang pemungut cukai.
In the time of Jesus, the Jews were being controlled and oppressed by the Roman Empire.
Di saat waktunya Yesus, orang-orang Israel saat itu berada di bawah naungannya tentara Romawi.
And so the Romans got some Jews to be tax collectors and to take the big taxes that the Romans wanted.
Tentara Romawi menggunakan beberapa orang Yahudi untuk memungut cukai.
But because of this, most Jews hated the tax collectors. So Matthew was not a very popular guy.
Tapi beberapa orang benci dengan Matius karena mengkhianati orang-orangnya.
But he would have been quite wealthy,
Tetapi saat itu Matius orang yang kaya
and his job was secure because he was under the protection of the Roman Empire.
dan pekerjaannya mapan.
He was quite a powerful man in that area.
Dia punya kekuasaan dan kekuatan saat
So we read
itu.
in Matthew 9 verse 9.
Mari kita baca di Matius 9 ayat 9.
As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew. I find it funny that Matthew's the one who wrote this, but he's writing in third person. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. Follow me, he told him. And Matthew got up and followed him.
Setelah Yesus pergi dari situ, ia melihat seorang yang bernama Matius duduk di rumah cukai. Lalu ia berkata kepadanya, "Ikutlah aku." Maka berdirilah Matius lalu mengikuti dia.
In the same way that we looked at how Peter, Andrew, John, and James followed Jesus, Matthew gets up from what he's doing, gets up from his life, gets up from his security, his job, his position, and follows
Sama
Jesus.
seperti murid-murid pertama Tuhan Yesus, Matius juga meninggalkan hartanya, bangkit dan mengikuti Yesus.
He obeyed the call of Jesus.
Dia taat dengan panggilan yang Yesus berikan.
And it's crazy that we now read about this same guy because of that decision he made to follow Jesus.
Dengan kehidupannya kita bisa lihat bagaimana dia mengikuti Yesus.
That he is a blessing to Christians for the rest of time, right? Because he wrote this account about Jesus. That we have this account because he decided to follow Jesus.
Karena dia menulis buku ini menjadi berkat buat kita sebagai orang Kristen di sini.
That we can see following Jesus will often require a lifestyle change.
Ketika kita mengikuti Yesus, memerlukan pengorbanan dengan lifestyle kita yang harus berubah.
And it will sometimes require sacrificing things that we like
Mungkin pengorbanan kepada sesuatu yang kita suka
or things that we want to do.
atau sesuatu yang kita ingin lakukan.
If we're genuinely following Jesus, then we won't spend all our time on social media.
Karena ketika kita mengikuti Yesus, mungkin kita nggak meluangkan waktu kita hanya melihat sosial media saja.
Or playing video games.
Atau bermain video
Talking
games.
to myself on that one. Or working.
Atau bekerja.
We won't just do whatever we want when we want.
Kita nggak hanya melakukan sesuatu yang kita inginkan saat kita mau saja.
But as we do follow Jesus, we experience life to the full.
Ketika kita mengikuti Yesus, kita menerima hidup yang berkelimpahan.
Where we're free from addictions. Where we're healed and set free.
Kita bebas dari kecanduan kita dibebaskan.
Where we have purpose and we know our identity.
Kita punya tujuan, kita tahu identitas kita.
And we uncover the unique calling for our life.
Dan kita punya panggilan unik yang Tuhan berikan buat hidup kita.
And then to top it all off, we have the promise of spending eternity with Jesus.
Dan kita diberikan janji untuk punya kehidupan yang kekal bersama dengan Yesus.
And so as we said, following Jesus starts with
Ketika kita mengikuti Yesus dimulai dengan
obedience.
ketaatan.
When we realize, just like Matthew did in this story,
Sama seperti yang Matius lakukan di cerita ini.
that we're living in a way that is apart from Jesus.
Kita hidup yang berbeda dari Yesus.
Matthew, in this case, he was following his own career. He was following this idea that he would be rich and wealthy on this earth.
Pertama, Matius mengikuti kehidupannya di mana dia bisa menjadi kaya dan apa yang ditawarkan oleh dunia ini.
And then we turn away from that way of living and turn to Jesus. Like
Sama
Matthew
seperti
did.
Matius, dia kembali, dia tidak mengikuti apa yang ditawarkan dunia ini, tetapi mengikuti Yesus.
Jesus, he doesn't expect us to be perfect or have it all together.
Yesus nggak meminta kita untuk menjadi sempurna dan punya semuanya tertata rapi.
That we're not going to always get it right.
Karena kita nggak akan selalu benar.
We're going to make mistakes.
Pasti ada saatnya kita melakukan
But
kesalahan.
he is not disappointed in us.
Tapi dia nggak kecewa dengan kita.
In the stories we've looked at of Jesus calling his disciples, he's called 4 fishermen and a tax collector.
Kita lihat di cerita ini, Tuhan Yesus memanggil 4 nelayan dan seorang pemungut cukai.
Not really the people you would associate with if you want to have a good social status.
Tuhan nggak hanya memanggil orang-orang ini, kalau Tuhan mau punya social status yang bagus, dia nggak mau memanggil orang ini.
But Jesus doesn't look at the outside, he looks at the heart, right?
Tuhan nggak melihat di luarnya, tapi dia melihat dari dalam.
That Jesus has given the call to each one of us, just as he did to these men.
Tuhan memberikan panggilan yang sama seperti yang dia berikan kepada lelaki ini.
No matter who we are, no matter where we are, no matter what we've done.
Siapapun kita, apapun yang telah kita lakukan.
And so the choice to follow is ours.
Jadi pilihannya untuk mengikuti dia ada di dalam diri kita.
But once we have said yes, that we want to follow Jesus, how do we do
Tetapi
that?
ketika kita sudah bilang ya untuk mengikuti Yesus, bagaimana caranya kita bisa mengikuti dia?
What is our next step?
Apa langkah selanjutnya?
And so for the disciples, they literally follow Jesus around.
Kalau seorang murid-murid Yesus, dia mengikuti Yesus kemanapun mereka pergi.
They spoke with him, they heard him teaching, and they ate with him, they shared meals with him.
Dia berbicara kepada Yesus, mereka belajar dari Yesus, makan bersama dengan Yesus, duduk bersama dengan Yesus.
Must have been easy for them, right?
Mudah bagi mereka, bukan?
They literally had Jesus with them.
Mereka punya Yesus saat itu bersama dengan mereka.
But we are called to connect with Jesus in a very similar way to them.
Tetapi panggilan kita adalah berkoneksi dengan Yesus dengan cara yang sama.
That we can speak with him,
Kita bisa berbicara bersama dengan Yesus.
we can listen to his teaching,
Kita bisa mendengarkan ajaran yang Yesus berikan.
and we can be a part of a community with him.
Dan kita bisa berada di dalam komunitas bersama dengan dia.
That, as we've said, following Jesus is not about following a set of rules or doing the right thing.
Ketika kita mengikuti Yesus, kita nggak hanya sekedar mengikuti aturan atau regulasi yang ada.
That we can have relationship with Jesus
Kita bisa mempunyai hubungan bersama dengan Yesus.
through speaking to him in prayer,
Melalui kita berdoa bersama dengan dia.
through listening to his teaching in here,
Kita mendengarkan ajarannya, kita membaca Alkitab kita.
and through having community at church
Dan kita memiliki komunitas di gereja.
or connect nights or at youth.
Atau Connect Night, atau Youth.
And so put simply, to follow Jesus, we pray, read, and we can gather.
Secara simpelnya, ketika kita mengikuti Yesus, kita berdoa, kita membaca Alkitab, kita berkumpul bersama.
Sounds very simple, doesn't it?
Kedengarannya mudah, bukan?
But who knows that it's not that easy?
Tetapi siapa yang tahu kalau ternyata itu nggak terlalu mudah untuk dilakukan.
There is no easy way. There's no guaranteed step-by-step process.
Nggak ada garansi untuk kalau itu gampang dilakukan.
But following Jesus is an ongoing journey that we learn more and more.
Tetapi ini adalah kehidupan yang terus-menerus yang kita lakukan bersama dengan dia.
We'll never get to a point where we understand everything.
Kita nggak akan mencapai di suatu saat di mana kita mengerti
We'll
segalanya.
never get to a point where we've experienced everything there is to experience.
Atau mengalami segala sesuatu yang perlu kita rasakan.
And there will always be more as we follow Jesus.
Ada sesuatu yang lebih lagi ketika kita mengikuti Yesus.
But as a basis for following him, there are 3 main practices,
Tetapi ada 3 praktek yang perlu kita lakukan ketika kita mengikuti
which have
Yesus.
lots of different expressions and ways that we can do them.
Ada beberapa ekspresi atau yang kita bisa lakukan,
But simply put, pray, read, and gather.
tetapi secara singkatnya, simpelnya, mudahnya adalah berdoa, membaca Alkitab, dan juga berkumpul bersama komunitas kita.
And so, if you struggle to be consistent with these,
Kalau
like
kita
I'm
sulit,
sure all of us do,
kalau kita sulit untuk konsisten melakukan 3 hal ini,
then I encourage you, make a plan and tell someone about it.
kalau kita sulit melakukan ini, tulis plannya apa, rencananya apa, dan sharingkan sama teman sebelahnya.
Maybe you feel like you should read a psalm every day.
Mungkin kita mau baca kitab Mazmur setiap hari.
Come and tell someone else about it. Tell someone here about it, and then follow each other up.
Beritahu temannya, beritahu saudaranya, supaya kita bisa saling mengingatkan satu dengan yang lain.
And keep each other accountable.
Supaya
So
kita
that's what we're here for.
bisa saling mengingatkan.
And if you're not sure where to start, then please come and chat to either me or one of our team.
Kalau bingung dari mana kita mau mulai, coba nanti bisa setelah ibadah selesai berbicara dengan Fraser atau tim yang ada di sini.
I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I was listening to a message from Pastor Phil, who is the leader of our C3 movement, and he was sharing about how if we want to have a change happen in our lives, if we want to follow Jesus, that we need to make a change.
Jadi sama seperti yang saya pernah katakan sebelumnya, ketika saya menonton firman dari Pastor Phil dibilang, kalau kita mau melakukan sebuah perubahan, kita harus melakukannya terlebih dahulu.
That if we're making that decision, I want to follow Jesus, then maybe we need to change something.
Ketika kita mau mengikuti Yesus, ya kita harus melakukan suatu perubahan.
And so maybe we need to start praying each morning.
Mungkin kita dimulai dengan doa setiap pagi.
It's not about using fancy words.
Bukan memakai kata-kata yang bagus, yang bagus saja.
It's not about praying really loudly so God can hear me better.
Bukan sekadar berbicara keras supaya Tuhan bisa mendengar saya.
It's not about ticking off a checklist. Okay, I prayed for that person, I've done that.
Atau berdoa dengan checklist yang ada. Oh, saya sudah berdoa buat ini, doa yang lain, doa yang ini.
But it's about a connection or a relationship. In the
Tetapi-
same way that we connect with a friend.
Tetapi koneksi, kita berbicara membangun hubungan kita dengan Tuhan seperti kita membangun hubungan kita dengan teman kita.
And so the Lord's Prayer in Matthew 6, again, Matthew, what a book, hey? It's a great place to start, the Lord's Prayer.
Kita bisa baca doa Bapa kami, mulai dengan doa Bapa kami yang ada di kitab Matius.
The prayer is not a performance before God. We're not showing off to God.
Doa bukanlah performance di hadapan Tuhan.
Our words or how loud we pray doesn't make the prayer come to pass or get answered.
Kata-kata kita atau betapa kerasnya kita berbicara menjadikan acuan doa kita dijawab.
That it's only by God's goodness and grace that prayers are answered.
Tetapi karena kebaikan dan juga kasih karunia Tuhan, doa kita bisa dijawab oleh Tuhan.
Maybe you feel like you need to read the Bible every day.
Mungkin kita diminta untuk membaca Alkitab setiap pagi, setiap hari.
That as we read the Bible, we receive Jesus' truth, the truth of Him, the truth about who we are, and we receive that for ourselves.
Ketika kita membaca Alkitab, kita menerima kebenaran yang Tuhan katakan tentang hidup kita.
That this is not just a history book.
Ini bukan hanya buku yang menceritakan sejarah,
It's not just a nice story.
bukan hanya cerita yang bagus.
It's probably a very bad story, really, there's a lot of bad stuff in it. But hey, it's the truth of God.
Tetapi ini adalah kebenaran Tuhan.
It's beautiful
Bagus, buku yang indah.
that we have the teachings of Jesus.
Di mana kita bisa melihat pengajaran yang Tuhan berikan melalui Alkitab ini.
The story of Jesus, that He would love us so much.
Di mana kasih Tuhan, Dia mengasihi kita.
That He came and died, right? It's not a very happy story by the
Yeah.
looks of it.
Dia datang dan mati buat hidup kita.
But He rose again
Tapi
so
Dia
that we
bangkit
can have life.
supaya kita bisa punya hidup.
And so that's the story of the Bible. So as we read the Bible, it changes us, it transforms us.
Ketika kita membaca Alkitab itu mengubahkan kita, mentransformasi hidup kita.
That as we receive the truth of God, it changes the way that we think.
Ketika kita menerima kebenaran Tuhan, mengubahkan pola pikir kita.
And so if you struggle with reading the Bible, then maybe you could start with the Gospels. Start with reading through Matthew.
Kalau kita sulit, bingung dari mana kita harus memulainya, mulai dari kitab Injil, dari Matius,
Or start by reading a psalm each day.
atau mulai dari Mazmur.
And then finally we can gather.
Yang terakhir, kita bisa berkumpul bersama.
Coming together with other followers of Jesus
Berkumpul bersama pengikut Tuhan Yesus,
to encourage each other,
menguatkan satu dengan yang
to
lain,
build each other up,
membangun satu dengan yang lain,
to support and pray,
mensupport dan saling berdoa,
to bless and to be united.
untuk saling memberkati dan juga untuk menjadi kesatuan.
That in community we can hear God speak through each other.
Di dalam komunitas kita bisa lihat Tuhan berbicara melalui satu dengan yang lain.
That we can meet with Jesus as we gather
Kita
together.
bisa mengikuti Yesus dan bisa bertemu dengan Tuhan Yesus ketika kita berkumpul.
That we're able to use our gifts and the things that we're good at to bless others.
Di mana kita bisa menggunakan talenta kita untuk saling memberkati satu dengan yang lain.
And we can be encouraged and blessed as others use their gifts
Dan kita
as
bisa
well.
saling menguatkan satu dengan yang lain untuk menggunakan talenta mereka.
And maybe if you struggle with this, then you need to just decide, I'm going to come to church every Sunday, no matter what.
Kalau saudara sulit untuk melakukan ini, mungkin kita harus membuat keputusan setiap minggu saya mau datang ke gereja.
Set a repeating alarm on Sunday morning at whatever time you need to get up, not 10 o'clock, maybe 9, gives you enough time to get here.
Buat alarm, mungkin beberapa alarm supaya bisa bangun pagi-pagi sebelum jam 10 untuk datang ke gereja.
Or come along on Wednesday nights to Connect Night.
Datang ke hari Rabu ke Connect Night.
I love it. It's awesome that we can have this space on a Wednesday night to share with each other about our journey and the things that we struggle with, that we can be honest and real.
Di mana di hari Rabu kita bisa sharing satu dengan yang lain bagaimana perjalanan hidup kita mengikuti Tuhan Yesus bersama-sama.
So we can pray, we can read, and we can gather.
Kita bisa berdoa, kita bisa membaca Alkitab kita bisa berkumpul bersama-sama.
Now, please remember, this is not just a 3-step process and then we're sorted.
Ingat, ini nggak cuma 3 step, abis itu hidup kita sudah selesai.
It's not, okay, I prayed this week, I read the Bible this week, and I went to church on Sunday, so I'm following Jesus.
Bukan
Not
hanya,
how it works.
saya sudah melakukan 3 hal ini, saya sudah membaca Alkitab saya sudah berdoa, saya sudah berkumpul, maka saya sudah menjadi pengikut Yesus.
If we look at the disciples, they didn't just have one meal with Jesus and then go off.
Mereka, kalau kita lihat kehidupan para murid-murid Yesus, bukan hanya sekedar makan satu kali saja bersama dengan Yesus, hidup mereka sudah selesai.
But every day they talked to Jesus, listened to him teaching, and spent time with him.
Tetapi
In community.
setiap hari mereka berdoa, mereka membaca Alkitab mereka berkumpul bersama-sama.
That as we do these things, as we pray and read the Bible and gather together as a community, that we make space to hear Jesus guide us.
Karena ketika kita melakukan setiap ini bersama-sama, kita bisa saling menguatkan kehidupan kita.
That we receive the blessings and the promises that we've talked about.
Kita bisa menerima blessing, berkat yang sudah Tuhan janjikan buat hidup kita.
And so in 2017, I felt God calling me to come to Bali
2017 saya merasa Tuhan memanggil hidup saya untuk datang ke Bali.
and to begin the youth ministry here at C3 The
Untuk
Bukit.
memulai pelayanan youth yang ada di C3 The Bukit.
But I was 19, I think. I was not confident. I had lots of doubts. And I was questioning, did God really call me to do this?
Saat itu saya berumur 19 tahun dan saya bingung, saya ragu, saya khawatir apakah benar Tuhan memanggil saya untuk melakukan ini.
I thought, I'm too young.
Saya merasa saya terlalu muda.
I don't know how to speak properly.
Saya nggak bisa berbicara dengan bagus saat itu.
What are people going to say about me?
Apa yang orang-orang akan katakan terhadap saya?
And where am I going to get the money to live for that long?
Dan dari mana uang yang saya punya bisa saya hidup di Bali?
And so I was struggling to make the decision to follow Jesus. in
Saya
that time.
sulit untuk membuat keputusan untuk mengikuti Yesus saat itu.
It felt like it was too big, too difficult,
Rasanya terlalu sulit, terlalu besar buat saya.
that I couldn't do it.
Saya nggak bisa lakukan itu.
And so on one Sunday night, when I was still in Perth, we had a prayer meeting.
Waktu saya masih di Australia, di hari Minggu saya datang ke ibadah doa malam itu.
And so I went along and gathered and prayed.
Saya datang, saya berdoa.
And as I made space for God, He spoke to me.
Ketika saya memberikan ruang untuk Tuhan, Dia berbicara kepada saya.
For me, often I get a thought in my mind. Usually it's a thought, well, a thought that I wouldn't come up with on my own, right? It's a good thought.
Ya, saya mendapatkan pikiran yang dari Tuhan, yang bukan dari diri saya sendiri.
Usually to pray for someone or to read the Bible or something like that.
Seperti berdoa buat orang lain atau membaca Alkitab saya.
And so as I was praying, I had this thought to read Jeremiah chapter 1.
Ketika saya berdoa, saya diingatkan untuk membaca Yeremia pasal 1.
I'd never read it before and I didn't know what it was about.
Saya belum membaca sebelumnya dan saya nggak ingat apa tentang yang ayat ini katakan.
So just remember what I was feeling at that time, right? I was wrestling with that decision to follow Jesus. And this is what Jeremiah 1 verse 4 to 8 says. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Alas, sovereign Lord, I said. It's like me speaking to God here. I do not know how to speak. I am too young. But the Lord said to me, Do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord.
Dikatakan di Yeremia 1 ayat 4-8, firman Tuhan datang kepadaku bunyinya, sebelum aku membentuk engkau dalam rahim ibumu, aku telah mengenal engkau. Dan sebelum engkau keluar dari kandungan, aku telah menguduskan engkau. Aku telah menetapkan engkau menjadi nabi bagi bangsa-bangsa. Maka aku menjawab, Tuhan Allah, sesungguhnya aku tidak pandai berbicara, sebab aku ini masih muda. Tetapi Tuhan berfirman kepadaku, janganlah katakan, aku ini masih muda, tetapi kepada siapapun engkau kuutus, haruslah engkau pergi, dan apapun yang kuperintahkan kepadamu, haruslah kau sampaikan. Janganlah takut kepada mereka, sebab aku menyertai engkau untuk melepaskan engkau. Demikianlah firman Tuhan.
And so it was like God was speaking directly to me in my situation.
Dan saat itu saya merasa Tuhan berbicara secara langsung kepada situasi yang saya alami.
That He was addressing my fears and my concerns.
Dia berbicara apa yang mau bilang tentang apa yang saya rasakan, ketakutan saya, kekhawatiran saya.
And this is what it's like following Jesus, that as we decide to follow Him, as we decide to make space for Him, as I did in going to that prayer meeting.
Seperti yang kita lakukan ketika kita mengikuti Yesus, memberikan ruang buat Yesus untuk berbicara kepada kita.
That then allows Him to lead us and guide us.
Ketika kita memberikan ruang buat Dia berbicara, maka Tuhan akan memimpin kita.
I could have been at home playing video games instead of going to that prayer meeting.
Saat itu mungkin saya bisa saja di rumah dan bermain game dan tidak memberikan ruang buat Tuhan.
But I made the decision to go and Jesus spoke to me.
Tetapi saya memutuskan untuk memberikan ruang supaya Tuhan bisa berbicara kepada saya.
And then when you look back on the last 8 years since then, it's crazy, right? What God has done.
Ketika saya melihat lagi 8 tahun yang lalu, apa yang sudah Tuhan lakukan adalah hal luar biasa.
That I only met my wife because I made the decision to follow Jesus.
Kalau saat itu Fraser nggak datang, mungkin kita tidak bertemu.
Crazy, hey?
Ya kan?
But as we follow Jesus, things like this happen, right?
Ya, ketika kita mengikuti Yesus, banyak hal luar biasa yang terjadi.
In the same way as Matthew decided to follow Jesus and he wrote the Gospel of Matthew.
Seperti Matius, ketika dia mengikuti Yesus, dia bisa menuliskan kitab Matius ini.
That as we say yes to following Jesus, that we experience the goodness of God.
Ketika kita mengikuti Yesus, kita menerima dan merasakan kebaikan Tuhan.